Hey, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back once again to Stable B, our favorite place, one of the places that we talk about all sorts of different things. And today we're gonna get into something kind of special, something I think the channel has actually covered before, but not directly as we're gonna put it. And today, that is gonna be the 5 myths around doing motorcycle track days. Myths meaning not necessarily something we're gonna throw on Mythbuster, one of those great TV shows, but just things that when I try and get a friend or a buddy to go do a track day with me or go do a track day or whatever, as soon as I find out he has a motorcycle, I'm like, hey, when are you doing a track day? Because, well, that's me, that's what I care about. These 5 things are things that I've heard and things that often get thrown out as excuses or myths, if you will, around why they think they can't do a track day. So we're gonna get into them. If you're already doing track days, I ask that you still please stick around in the video. Let me know if I'm missing something or if something I said is like, dude, I've never heard that before. Throw it down in the comments below. I want to hear about it. And I want to know what all I'm missing because I'm sure other people have different experiences, but I think these are the 5 like most common that I've heard. And before we get into it, please go ahead and click the subscribe button down below and throw a like on the video. Let's get into these 5 myths and see what they're all about and see if we can't maybe debunk them a little. All right, so these myths, like I said, there's 5 of them. We're going to get into them not in any particular order, it's not like, hey, this is the biggest one, this is what I hear the most often. If I think one of them is what I hear the most often, I'll mention that. But the first one we're gonna talk about is your bike. One of the biggest questions that I get asked is like, well, don't I need to do all this special stuff to my bike? Like, don't you have to have, I don't even know, but like people will be like, do you have to have race fairings? Do you have to have your kickstand removed? Do you have to have all those things? And it's absolutely not true. If you have a motorcycle, it doesn't even have to be a sport bike. If you have a motorcycle, you can do a track day. Now, our 2008 Gixxer 750 here is definitely what we could call a track bike. It's set up for, it's ready to go. It's got the race fairings and all that. But behind us over here is a 2009. That thing literally was just, I bought it from a guy, got it home. I think put different exhaust on it because we wanted different exhaust. What else did we do to that thing? Remove the lowering kit because bikes do a little bit better without a lowering kit. Check out last week's video. Link will be up there. And then we put tape on it and called it a day. That was it. New tires. Obviously, probably need new tires if you're buying a used bike. But the 3 things I would say you need to check on your bike: no leaks, good tires, good brakes. If you got that, go for it. There are other things that you can do, but that's all kind of down the line. That's like after you get into it, after you realize what track days are all about. Maybe I want to get into racing. Maybe I just want to go a little quicker. Once you decide like your path moving forward, then you can start to take some of those extra steps. So you see people all the time like, well, you should do this, and this. Myth, debunked, absolutely not. Take your motorcycle, put some tape on the lights, make sure it's in like good working order. That's the only requirement. Go do a track day. Don't care what type of bike, what bike, how much horsepower. Don't try and add more horsepower. Don't worry about having the best suspension out the box. Don't worry about like having the best brakes out the box. Just make sure it can go, it can stop. It's not gonna leak fluid everywhere, and you're good to go. Go have a great day. So that would be myth number 1. You don't have to have a special bike and you don't have to have anything special done to your bike. In fact, kind of the more stock it is, the better off you are from the beginning, in my opinion. So myth number 1, debunked, no special bike needed. Okay, in my hand right here, I have what's called a back protector. This is from Alpenstars. This is some special gear that you can use when you're doing a track day that is required when you start racing. But for most organizations, at least all the ones that I've come across, a back protector is not required. It's recommended. It's definitely a good thing to have. If you got the extra money, got the extra budget, whatever, go get your back protector, but you don't have to have one. And that goes along with the myth number 2. Once again, not in any particular order, but hey, don't I need all this crazy gear? Don't I have to have a back protector? Do I need one of those air vests? Do I have to have some crazy special, super expensive helmet? Absolutely not. If you're going to do a track day, you do need a full suit, but it doesn't have to be a 1-piece suit. If you're still going to do a bunch of street riding, you can do a 2-piece suit that'll zip together. Check out our video on 1 versus 2-piece suits. We kind of cover the like pros and cons of either direction. Don't have to have a 1-piece. You can definitely just do a 2-piece. With that, you don't have to have a back protector. You don't have to have an airbag. You don't have to have this crazy Snell whatever rated helmet. Your helmet does have to be like legal and non-modular. So there are a few requirements in there, but there's not a bunch of crazy gear that you have to have. Most motorcycle riders will already have about half of it, minus the suit. And sometimes they even have a jacket already that will zip into pants. They literally just have to go by pants. So if you fall into that category and you were thinking, man, I gotta go get a suit, I gotta go get new boots, I gotta get new gloves, I gotta get the special helmet, I gotta buy a back protector, absolutely not. Myth debunked. You don't need a ton of special gear. You probably have most of it already. Check the requirements on your local track day website, track day organization website, verify that you fit their rules. You're probably good to go. Maybe you gotta buy a suit. Okay, got it. I wanna call it any like crazy special gear. Usually when I get asked that question, they're like, well, don't I need all this crazy special stuff? People don't even know what they're talking about half the time when they're out there hitting you with these myths and these questions and all this. it's excuses. So once again, if you're already doing track days, please stick around for the whole video so you can use this either as ammo towards your friends to get more people out there so we keep growing our sport, or if I'm missing something, add it down in the comments so I can see it and we can get all these myths debunked right here in this video. But I would say that's myth number 2, debunked. Don't need a ton of special gear. There is extra stuff that you can have. I'm not saying not to get it. I'm just saying you don't have to have it to go do your first track day. Once again, if you get into it and you're gonna get addicted like me and like everyone else that's addicted, then absolutely head down that line and start to get all that stuff. But for your first one, it is not a requirement. So that myth is debunked. No special crazy gear is required. All right, so myth number 3, this is a myth that I haven't heard a ton. It's been asked a couple times, and it's one that I'm kind of still working on a little bit, but I've been asked before, we're like, don't I need a special license to go to the racetrack? Absolutely not. I would say that myth is like straight up debunked. Most places are gonna require that you have a driver's license, I think. And if you're a track day org guy, you run a track day org, or you've got more information on that, please leave that down in the comments also so I can see it and other people can see it. But in general, they're not gonna actually even ask if you have your motorcycle endorsement when you go to do a track day. I've never been asked. I do have one, yeah, I ride on the street a little bit. I've got a motorcycle endorsement on my license, but I've never been asked that. And I've seen 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds out at the racetrack doing track days. Usually at that point, and like I said, I'm still working on some more info, so if you have any info, please throw it down in the comments. But usually at that point, they're gonna wanna see that person at least ride around in the parking lot, verify they can in fact keep a bike up and they're relatively comfortable. And then they're gonna, of course, throw you out in C group, especially if you're a younger kid and you're gonna go out with a control rider, and they're gonna verify that you're gonna be safe out there. And it's not necessarily for other people's safety, it's more for your own. If you're 14 and you're getting blown down by 34-year-olds who think they're fast on their Ducati V4R, you might get a little scared, maybe not. I'm not trying to say anything, but there is no like special license requirement. You don't have to go to a racer school just to do a track day, right? So that's kind of that buyout there, is that a lot of people start talking to people that are racing and they did have to go get a race license. If you're gonna club race, absolutely need a race license. If you just wanna do a track day, you don't need a special license. Just go do the track day. Sign up, go do it. If you have a motorcycle and you can ride it, you can go do it. Now, if you're worried about that and you're like, I don't know, I've only been riding for like a little bit, you know, I took a BRC, but I have no idea what a racetrack's like. That's okay. There's control riders out there. There's always brand new riders at every track day. You're not alone. Just go do the track day. I promise it's worth it. But I would say it's another myth. Myth number 3, I think we were on. Debunked. No special license required just to do a motorcycle track day. All right, so myth number 4. Myth number 4. Yeah, so this is one that we've definitely seen a lot of. Put it out on the channel before, and I'm gonna link you to this video right here, which will debunk this myth. That myth is that they're expensive. It will be. You're gonna go do a track day, you're gonna get addicted. I put out a video a little while ago about why you shouldn't do track days, and that was because they do get expensive as you keep going and as you do more and more and more, and eventually your bike ends up looking like this, and you're like, I took a $20,000 motorcycle and I made it actually unusable for what it was originally designed for, which was the road, and now all I can do is race it, which only cost me more money. But your first track day is not that expensive. You probably already have a bike, probably already have a helmet. Once again, that video that I linked, go check it out. It goes over all those things. You can do a track day from start to finish, first track day for under $1,000. Depending on where you live and depending on the track around you, we did get a comment of a guy that lived by Laguna Seca, and so any other track was super far away. Laguna Seca itself, usually track days are around that $500 mark. I understand that, I'm sorry. There are those outliers, but in general, that video follows pretty closely how you can do your first track day for under $1,000, assuming that you have a bike and a helmet. Everything else you're gonna have to go buy and then buy the ticket and then get there. All that's covered in there, under $1,000, you're good to go. So if you're thinking, dude, I can't do these track days, they're too expensive, they're gonna cost you too much money. If you get down the route where your stuff starts looking like this and like this over here, 100%, it's gonna get expensive. If you've got an addictive personality, stay away from it. But if that's the myth that's holding you back, is that it's way too expensive and it's gonna cost you $10,000 out the door, it's not true. It's under $1,000. Chances are it's even less than that, because usually most riders already have more gear than what I put in that original video. So go check that out if you want more details on it, but being expensive is definitely a myth. Also, again, depending on your version of expensive, but in my opinion, that's an upfront cost, and then as you do your second one, third one, fourth one, fifth one, all of that gear you don't have to rebuy every time, so your cost goes way down. So expensive to carry on for life? Yes. Expensive to get into right off the bat? No, in my opinion. If $1,000 is sounding like way too much, then yeah, this channel is probably not for you, this sport's probably not for you. I'm sorry, it's it's a little rough and it does get expensive. But if you're like, yeah, no, that's not bad for a good weekend of great fun. They're not too expensive. It's not insane. You're not looking at a $10,000 ticket to get there. If you got the bike, you got the helmet, you can get to the racetrack for under $1,000. So that's myth number 4, debunked, not too expensive. All right, so myth number 5, our 5th and final myth of things that are holding people back from doing track days. Things that people like to bring up to make excuses for why they're not doing it. I think the biggest reason is they're just lazy and they don't want to put in the effort. But myth number 5, it's not as often. I'd say the expensive part and the like, what do I need to do to my bike part are probably my 2 biggest that I've heard out of the list. But number 5 is they're hard to find. Well, isn't that super hard? Don't they only come so often? Don't they? I haven't gotten this that much. Most of the time, people just aren't willing to do their research. When I first started doing track days, I had no idea even how to get started, and I didn't watch YouTube channels, I didn't watch YouTube videos, I didn't talk to anyone that had done one before. I got on Google and I said, track day near me, which brought up a whole bunch of car stuff. So I'm telling you now, don't Google that. Then I went, okay, that doesn't give me anything, but here's a racetrack. So then I said track days at blah racetrack, which then got me there. Since then, I found a better way to Google it, which is motorcycle track day near me. You'll start finding all the motorcycle track day orgs in your area. If you live up in South Dakota, North Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, depending on where in those states, but specifically that region of the US does not really have any racetracks available, so I apologize. But you can travel Minnesota, straight down, Colorado, Utah, nothing in Idaho, over to Washington, depending on where you're living. They've definitely got stuff out there. So if you're having trouble finding any of that, please hit me up on Instagram at JKimoto Podcast. Say, hey, I live in this area. What's the best track? What's the best track day org? I'll do the information for you, or do the searches for you. I'll send you the information. I can definitely hook you up with that. So if nothing else, this channel should debunk that myth. I am absolutely willing to put in that effort to get more people to the racetrack. So if you got a buddy that's like, oh, I can't find anything, or if you're that person, you're watching this like, no, I had no problem with any of the other myths, I just don't know how to figure this out, hit me up on Instagram at JKimoto Podcast. Leave a comment down here, someone will answer it, whatever it might be. They're not hard to find. There's a track day like almost every freaking weekend. I wish I could go to more, but I find myself all the time like not being able to go to all of them because there's so many. So it's not like it's something that only happens every 6 months. Your local racetrack probably has 3 to 4 different organizations that run at it. There are some in the country that's like only one org. Very easy to find. The only thing that usually holds you back is the winter season, which I understand we're coming into. So if do your research now over the winter, figure out what you want to do, and then you can save up for it too. So that knocks the expensive thing out. You can get all the weird things that you want to get done on your bike done. So that knocks that out. You can debunk all these myths over the next 4 or 5 months in the winter, 6 months, and then go back and hit it in the spring. It'd be sweet. But myth number 5, they're hard to find, hard to come by. It's not true. Google motorcycle track day near me. You'll figure it out. There'll be a track day org. If not, get on Instagram at JKimoto Podcast. Hey, Easton, where do I find a motorcycle track day near me? I'll be like, hey, where are you located? Or where are you trying to ride? This area. Boom. I'll send you a list of the orgs. I'll send you the next available track day. I'll send you whatever you need to be sent. So please don't let that hold you back. Any of the other 5 things that we mentioned, don't let them hold you back. Just go to a track day. If you got a buddy that's got one of those myths, show them this video, share it with your friends, let them know like, hey, all this stuff ain't true. You can definitely go do it. It's not that bad. It's very easy. We want more people. We want to keep the sport going. Appreciate you guys for watching. Hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight and like good stuff to tell your friends, or like I said, if you're sitting here like, man, I've been wanting to do it, but I've got all these holdbacks. Hopefully this answered a few of those questions. Also, ask you please subscribe to the channel. I know I said that in the beginning. Go check out the rest of the videos. There's a lot of good stuff in there about doing your first track day, what to do to your bike, what not to do to your bike, and all that stuff. So go check it out. Plenty of good videos, plenty of good information. Track days is what we do here because, when life gets you down, drag a knee on the ground. That's all I have to say today. Thank you guys for watching. If you want the shirt, the link will be, go check it out, pick yourself up a shirt, go do a track day, become a club racer, race for Moto America, win, head to MotoGP, become a MotoGP star. That's the ladder of success over here at the channel. Appreciate you guys being here. We'll see you in the next video.